bit of an awkward situation right now. Dr. Talisa Dixon, superintendent of schools, and we were planning this little shindig. And we were joking that wouldn't it be fun if all the administrators would lead their staff in with their boxing gloves and their bathrobes and to the theme from Rocky, because our theme is Healthy Tiger Nation. It was going to be so fun, but it would have been nice if somebody told me that we weren't serious about that. So, here you go. What are you going to do? Anyway. But it's going to be fun. I mean, conveniently, all the administrators are beginning to burrow into the ground right now, and they're all looking at me like, no. But it's going to be fun anyway. I'm going to be right back. I'm Maggie McPhee. I'm your host today. Sit back, relax, enjoy our show. First, we're going to welcome the Heights High Mixed Barbershoppers. They're going to start with the national anthem, and then they're going to sing a fun song for you. Please rise.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very straightforward rendition, so please lend us your voices.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the
Who's back? We're gonna have fun in this lifetime, that's for sure. Well, we're back, we're here. Welcome to Convocation Day 2018. This year, I was telling you before when I came in with my whole Rocky thing and the boxing gloves, you know, our theme is Healthy Tiger Nation. And when I heard about this theme from Dr. Dixon, Superintendent of Schools, she said the theme is Healthy Tiger Nation. And she was all excited, and I was like, okay. Well, I had to do some rebranding in my head because it's really not about just being healthy. Yeah, we're gonna have a wellness fair, you're gonna have all kinds of giveaways. There will be food. There will be food. All kinds of fun stuff where you can get your blood pressure checked, you can do like a little yoga demonstration, all kinds of fun stuff. It's not really about that though. I'll tell you a story. It's good. This summer in June, I went to a conference in Orlando with myself and 10 other people from my building. We had a great time, we loved it, but it was a long one. It was a whole week, 7 whole days with the people you work with. You can take that any way you want. I love the people I work with, but I don't know, maybe you feel differently. 7 whole days in Orlando. And we were loving it, we had a great time. And because it was in Orlando, it attracted all these people from all the surrounding southern states. So the southern accents in this place were beyond everywhere. So I get in the elevator one day, and I'm gonna tell you about my new friend. Hi, Whitney. It's actually just Whitney, but you'll find out in a second. I'm in the elevator the first day of this conference, and it's just me and one other woman. And she's on the phone. And as soon as she started talking, I said, whoa, that is a Southern belle if I have ever heard one. She's on the phone and she's saying, talking to her husband, okay, so if you go out by the pool and if you see a guy out there, you know I asked him to be there, so don't freak out, okay? I love you, bye. So we made some small talk and that was it. I got off the elevator. Fast forward to the end of that day, when we spend the last hour of every day in circle time, yeah, where we sit on the floor and practice our skills. And I walk into the room where my circle group is meeting, and from behind me I hear, hey, it's my new friend from the elevator! She followed me. So I do the old stop, turn, yeah, and then we have to go around and say your name and what you do and where you're from and all that good stuff. And she says, hey y'all, I'm Whitney. I'm from Georgia, as if y'all can't tell. And I'm the school secret keeper. I'm the guidance counselor. All you secret keepers out there, you just got a new job title. So then after 7 whole days of getting to know hey Whitney a little better, I come to find out she's like the healthiest person on earth. She's up at 4 every morning for her 33.5-mile run. Then she's back to blend up her kale smoothie with flaxseed and arugula oil. I don't even know what that is. I made it up. She's completely healthy, like all about that healthy lifestyle. And she has small children. Don't you love people like that? I want to be like people like that. I want to be like, hey Whitney. I wish I had the self-discipline. I wish I had the motivation. Well, today, we have all kinds of tools for you to help you live your healthiest life. But it's really not about just the being healthy. What was great about Hey Whitney is that she was a lot. She was a lot. But because she was so healthy, I feel like that gave her the opportunity to bring her whole heart to everything she did. She was full of heart. So this Convocation Day, Healthy Tiger Nation, we're teaming up with the American Heart Association to help you keep your heart healthy so you can bring your whole heart to everything you do, including this school year. You ready to bring your whole heart? That was kind of sad. I don't even know who's here and who's not here. I mean, Fairfax people, are you here? you're here. We're gonna do that again, but we're gonna do it better and louder. And these towels that were on your chair, they're not for decoration, they're perfect for twirling. When you hear your school, make some noise loud and proud with your whole heart. Twirl your tiger towels. Let's get some music on. Stand up, dance it out. And now I have to roll right into the next thing. Good thing there's a wellness fair. Get my blood pressure checked. Well, last year, you remember we had Ron Clark here. He was so fabulous. He was so great. But in all the excitement of having Ron Clark here, you know, we were all sitting here like, he has much knowledge. We will build a statue in his honor. It was so great. But I realized I was sitting in my seat and I thought, did they just totally forget to do the master teacher presentation? Ouch. So the district spared no expense and they got you some top shelf talent to sort of apologize for forgetting these master teachers who worked so hard. We're going to honor the master teachers from last year and this year, and it's going to be really exciting, this talent that they brought in for you. Just kidding, it's me! You're so lucky. I dabble in musical comedy as well. I write these amusing little ditties featuring the only 3 chords I know on my ukulele. And I make up songs for people at the holidays. It's a pretty good way of getting out of actually having to get a gift. Yeah, in our family, the ukulele comes out and they're all, oh, not again. But you wrote a song, yay! So to apologize formally for forgetting the master teachers last year, and to honor these master teachers this year, please enjoy this probably mediocre musical number by me. When you've been teaching for a while, got a master's and you're tenured too, you might be feeling a little bored, because lifelong learners always need something to do. Suddenly, before your eyes, a new credential you can try. You realize you just might qualify. Can't believe what you are seeing, this is just what you've been needing. It's a portfolio, dear, that'll keep you busy all year. Be a master teacher, it's what you need. So we all can see. You're an overachiever, you're a master teacher. From the day you were hired, your work ethic was inspired. And now that you're a master teacher, it might be safe to say that you can't get fired. Sorry we forgot to recognize you last year. Ron Clark was talking for like 3 hours, so please allow us to make it right by celebrating all of you right here. Patrick, Mark, and Leslie, Sarah, Joyce, and Nancy too, Bridget and Melissa, and let's not forget our friend, Teresa. Danny, Courtney, and Christine, Kathy, and Tiffany. Uh-oh, it occurs to me now that maybe I should have said their last names too, so you would know just who I'm talking about. I could have said anybody's name, like, here you go, Becky. Hey, Carl. Okay, last names. I can fix this. Carpenter, Doherty, Garrett, Parker, Bukovic, Parker, Bukovic, Eisenberg, Lambright, Garkar, Taylor Ware, Copeland, White, Smurdell, Craig, Jordan, hyphen, Shaw. With every single one of these, just when you think it's done, it comes back for more. Last thing, 2, 3, 4, the master teachers are here, because we forgot them last year. So put your hands together, Tiger Nation, so we can bring them all up here. Teachers officially and to give them a proper welcome and an introduction, please welcome Master Teacher Coordinator, Daisy Sarah Adair.
Okay, that was amazing. That was absolutely amazing. The official definition of a master teacher is that a master teacher demonstrates excellence inside and outside the classroom through consistent leadership and focused collaboration to maximize student learning. A master teacher strives for distinguished teaching and continued professional growth as specified by the standards for Ohio teachers. So since this started, we've had 62 Cleveland Heights University Heights teachers who have earned master teacher designation. So we're excited to recognize the people from last year, and that song was amazing. So from 2017-2018, the first person to get to come up is Oxford's very own, well, now Noble, Patrick Carpenter. From Roxborough Middle School, Mark Doherty. From Monticello, Leslie Garrett. And from Heights High, Sarah Parker. And renewing their master teacher status, Joyce Bukovac from Heights High. Nancy Eisenberg from Heights High, Go High School. Melissa Garkar from Roxborough Middle School. Bridget Lambright from Heights High. And my very own new principal, Teresa Taylor Ware from Noble Oxford. I'll get them all, okay. And this year's master teachers from 2018-2019, getting it for the first time, Danielle Copeland from Roxborough Middle School. And Courtney White from Heights High. And renewing their master teacher status for this year, Catherine Craig from Heights High and Boulevard. Tiffany Jordan Shaw from Roxborough Middle School. And Christine Smerdell, also from Rox Middle. You guys can hang tight while they take a picture.
Stay up here. Good morning, everyone, and welcome, welcome, welcome. Give yourselves a round of applause. It is so good to be here. I think Convocation is my favorite day of the year, primarily because I get to come back and see the family. If you think about the people you live with every day, you spend the most time with, I spend the most time with you all. I went home this summer for a few weeks, and my dad said, "Talisa, are you going back?" And I said, "Yes, I think I need to go back to my family in Ohio." So thank you, and I'm excited. Today, as Maggie, let's give her a round of applause, please. Maggie. She is so talented. I remember seeing her on stage 2 years ago at the Fairfax Cabaret, and I was taking pictures and tweeting out and saying, "Who is this? She is awesome." So she has graced us 2 years and said yes, so thank you again, Maggie. So today, as we've talked about, we're focusing on a healthy Tiger Nation. And I think it's important that we focus on our mind, our bodies, and our souls, and understanding why it's so important to do so. With that, I want to recognize a few people who actually allowed me to be here, and I don't want to underestimate how grateful I am to be able to serve you and serve this organization, and that's the Board of Education. I have 5 bosses, and sometimes it's hard when you think about 5 people that you answer to, but they have really supported me and supported the work that I've been able to do with you. And I want to take a few minutes to recognize our board president, Jim Posh, our vice president, Jody Serini, and our trustee, Malia Lewis, who are here. Just give them a round. And with that support, we also have the support of our city officials. You know, when you're a school district and you serve 2 cities and a little bit of a third one, it's important that we have those leaders who support the work as well. And I'm proud that we have our new mayor of University Heights here. Raise your hand, please, Mayor Brett. Support and your leadership that help us lift this very important work. So, I'm going to talk about today just a little bit, just a few minutes I'll be here. I'm not going to talk about data and where we are on the school report card. I'm not doing that. I'm only going to talk briefly about why it's so important for us to focus on ourselves and how we have to be healthy in order to be healthy to serve our families and our students. It's important that we don't forget about ourselves. Please don't forget about yourselves. So raise your hand if you had a habit. Any of you guys have habits? Raise your hands. Yeah, that should be everybody. Everybody should be raising their hands. So we all have a habit. You know, some of us have shopping habits, a habit of always playing golf, just various habits that we have. And sometimes we try to break those habits, and sometimes we can't seem to break those habits. Can you hear me? Sometimes we can't seem to break those habits. But remember that habits have consequences, both good and bad consequences. So my habit, for me, my habit is coffee. I absolutely love coffee. I even have a Starbucks mug collection. I collect Starbucks mugs almost every city and some of the countries I've been to. Even the mugs, they're decorative designer mugs. I love it. I mean, I even got a mug from St. Petersburg, Russia that Dan McDonald got for me because when I was there in 2013, they didn't have a Starbucks. And I said, how in St. Petersburg, Russia, they have posters of Beyonce everywhere and didn't have a Starbucks? They were opening their first Starbucks store in 2014. So Dan McDonald went to Russia last year. He said, I'm going to bring you back a mug. So he brought me back a mug. But coffee to me is that habit I just can't seem to shake. I go to Starbucks almost every morning. I see Dr. Brian Williams there quite often. And if you ever come to my office, I always invite people in to do what? Have a cup of coffee. You can come in my office at any time and have coffee or a cup of hot tea, right? Yes. So, and I've met so many of you because of that, and I really appreciate that time to be able to fellowship with you just over a cup of coffee. So every morning I'm coming in the office, I'm making a fresh cup of coffee, and my assistant Caroline loves coffee too. So we are always talking about coffee. We're talking about the new coffee creamer, flavored coffee to try, you know, our new Starbucks mug, and I believe we are joined by the cup. I even found this coffee cup of Caroline on the left. We love coffee. So every morning I'm drinking my coffee, and at the end of drinking this coffee, I take the leftover coffee and I pour it in this planter. I have this planter in my office, and I'm taking that leftover coffee and I'm dumping it in the planter every day. So if you leave your coffee cups out in my office, it's dumped in this planter. So Darlene, the evening cleaner, always saying, Dr. Dixon, why are you pouring coffee in that planter? You are killing that plant. I said, no, I read somewhere that coffee, you know, plants love coffee. It's really nutritious. And she said, well, the leaves are turning brown. And so at night, she would sneak and she would pour, you know, she would give it water. And in the morning, I'm coming in and I'm giving it coffee. You know, between the two of us, it still was not growing to its potential. So one day I came in the office and I came with this new coffee crate, this new stuff called Keynote. You guys ever heard of Keynote? Oh my gosh. So I was trying to figure out a way, how could I drink more coffee, but not have the calories and the sugar craving because I get a little cranky and I just think more coffee. So I told Caroline I brought in keto coffee, keto creamer, keto cookies, keto, the MCT oil. I said, this is going to be our way of drinking coffee more healthy coffee, okay? So remember, I'm taking my coffee, leftover coffee, and I'm doing what with it? Throwing it in the planter. So for a few weeks, we started to see something. And I said, Caroline, come in the office. Let's check out this planter. The leaves were not as brown, and we saw some sustained growth. So Cyber Nation, I want to introduce you to a new family member. So this morning, I'd like to introduce you to Keto. Caroline and I named her Keto. You would see that her leaves are greener. You would see the brown edges. They're going to go away because she's getting nutritious coffee now. But it's important, I needed to say, Caroline was like, okay, we're going to call it Keto, and now we're going to start nurturing it. I said, okay. So I want to talk to you, just briefly tell you the 3 lessons that I learned from Keto. The first is we talk about this healthy type of nation and the lessons from Keto. The first lesson I learned was we must look within. My planner was not reaching its full potential because of my habits, my actions, and my refusal to do something different. How many of us do that? How many of us do not eat healthy? And we know we're not eating healthy. How many of us are not getting 8 hours of sleep a night? And we know it. And do we do anything different? No. We keep thinking that we have to keep grinding, I am guilty of that too. How many of us walk by something that's broken and we don't fix it? I have a pet peeve of seeing stuff on the floor. You think about that person that walks, dropping stuff, and then that person that always goes back and pick it up. How many of us have ever had that feeling deep down inside that something we're doing, we know is not right? We have to look within and say to ourselves, this is not the right thing to do. This is not the right way to treat our neighbors, to treat our students, to treat our parents, all of those things. Really thinking about, I can't be good to them unless I am good to whom? Yourself. The second lesson I learned from Keto is we must give it a name. So many times we have challenges and situations and we don't even know what to call it. We feel a certain way and we can't even describe it. Remember that term, a thingamajig? You're trying to describe something and you don't know what it is. We have to give it a name. Think about the students that come in our classrooms or the parents we meet and we're trying to describe them. The tall gentleman with the afro, or the lady with the really short hair. But once you give that person or kid a name, you remember that name. I didn't even give Keto a name. I was just like that planner, with the coffee and the planner, put the coffee in the planner. But now, since I'm giving it a name, I'm going in and saying, good morning, Keto, you ready for your coffee? Or Keto, it's time for your afternoon coffee snack. But I believe that Keto is blossoming because I have given it a name. I'm recognizing who she is in her potential and saying over and over and over again, speak the name, speak the name. It's power in saying someone's name, right? The last thing I had to do, I'm thinking about, I'm looking within, I'm giving it a name, and then I have to start nurturing its growth. So we all know that plants need 2 essential things, right? Water and sunlight. Some needs more, some less. So for example, someone gave me this beautiful orchid. It was absolutely beautiful. They brought it to my office. I was so excited about this orchid. I put it on the desk, and every day I would just give it a sprinkle of water. I just sprinkle here, sprinkle, no coffee, just water. I didn't read the directions. I was just giving it a sprinkle of water. So one day Caroline said, I think it's dead. It's dying. The leaves, the petals had fallen off, the leaves, and I said, no. I know someone in the board office who can make anything come back alive. If you guys have a dead flower or plant, bring it to the finance office and give it to Becky Townsend. Where's Becky? Becky can make anything. She is our resident green thumb at the board. So I took the orchid to her office and I said, Becky, you have to help it. I don't know what's happened. Someone gave it to me as a gift, and I do not want that person to come back in my office and ask, where is it? So she looked at me and smiled and looked at it and looked at me and looked at it. And I know what she wanted to say. She wanted to say, sister, this is dead, and it was dead a long time ago. But she took it and she said, I'll do my best. But what happened? It died, right? I didn't nurture its growth. I didn't take the time to even read the directions. I took the matters in my own hands and then tried to pass it off to someone else to fix. How many of us do that? When we don't nurture the growth, even ourselves, hey, we go to the doctor, we say, fix me please. I went to the doctor the other day, she said, Talise, I'm gonna treat you as a new parent, as a new patient, because you haven't been here in 2 years. And I said, really? It's been that long? Fix me, Dr. Vargas. But we do that with our students. Think about the student who has been in your classroom all year, does not know his ABCs, his 1, 2, 3s, and we have passed him off where? To the next grade. We have to remember that our parents are sending them the very best, so we have to nurture their growth, but we also have to take care of us. And if we take care of us, we'll be more equipped to take care of our students. So, when we think about nurturing our growth, looking within, and give it a name, I think those 3 things will help us realize this is who we serve and this is why we serve. We have to take care of ourselves. Please, please go to the health fair this afternoon. We're going in the spring, we're going to have some fun intramurals that you're going to see that's going to roll out. So we're going to have competitions between volleyball and basketball competitions between our staffs. We want Tiger Nation to be healthy, and we're going to do what it takes on our end to make sure that that happens. So you're going to be getting some materials from our Health and Wellness Club. We're going to have a competition even with our buildings to see who can get their wellness check. So we want to see which building is the healthiest building, how healthy is Tiger Nation as a whole organization, and then some real competition between our schools. Even the Board of Ed is going to have either a volleyball or a basketball team, probably volleyball. Yes. So we're going to be competing with the other schools for a championship at the end of this year for the healthiest school in Tiger Nation. So teachers, a healthy Tiger Nation will help us focus again on what's important. Our mental, physical, and spiritual selves are important to making sure that we are a healthy organization that's striving for a culture of excellence. And our students need to be ready to receive a healthy leader, a healthy bus driver, a healthy cleaner, a healthy principal. Our students need our guidance, our leadership, our knowledge, and our caring hearts so that they can reach their potential just like Keto. Thank you. So next I would like to introduce an important partner to our wellness efforts, the American Heart Association. Students and staff across the district have participated in American Heart Association programs for a number of years to keep their heart healthy and to help raise funds for heart disease and stroke research and education. In fact, over the past 4 years, Cleveland Heights has raised nearly $80,000 for the American Heart Association. Last year, Roxborough, Garrity, and Noble Elementaries led the way as our schools combined to raise just shy of $20,000. Let's give them a applause. honor of serving on the American Heart Association board, and I think it's so important, and I know I've shared with you guys, my mom passed at 52 years old with a massive heart attack. So it is important that we make sure that we are checking ourselves and getting the appropriate doctors and checkups that we need so that we are healthy. So let's please welcome Valerie Weber, Youth Market Director for the American Heart Association, to tell you more about our partnership efforts to keep healthy hearts in Cleveland Heights. Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dixon. It is an honor to be here this morning. My name is Valerie Weber, and I am with the American Heart Association, and we are also the American Stroke Association. I typically like to start these talks with a show of hands. So anyone in the audience who knows someone who's had a heart attack, a stroke, or they know someone with a heart condition, if you can just raise your hand now. So if everyone just kind of take a look around the room. So you're going to see that probably about 9 out of 10 people raise their hand. So for me, the person that I thought of when I raised my hand was my grandfather, Jim. My grandfather had 2 strokes, and sadly, he did pass away from that. That's what brought me into this work. So prior to working in the nonprofit world, I worked in the corporate world, and my passion for this brought me over to the American Heart Association to serve this really, really important mission. So I have the honor of working with so many of you in your school buildings every single year. So it's great to see some familiar faces out there. As we kick off this school year, we have some really exciting new things that we're going to be rolling out. So I want to give you guys some stats of some of the things that we're working on and where a lot of the dollars that you've raised have gone to. So our 2020 vision with the American Heart Association is to reduce deaths from cardiovascular disease by 20%, while at the same time increasing the heart health of all Americans by 20% by the year 2020. So we know we only got about 1.5 years left to hit these goals. So right now, where we're at, tracking toward our 2020 impact goal, we have achieved 3.95% improvement in cardiovascular health for all Americans, and we've also achieved a 15% reduction in deaths from cardiovascular disease. So on the deaths, we're getting really, really close, and on increasing the health, we're only at about 4%, so that's kind of where you all come in. So what we're doing in the school districts is we are trying to help the students and the staff to increase their cardiovascular health. So we do this through different ways, and I think it's really neat that this year your theme is a healthy Tiger Nation. And I do want to thank all the physical education and health staff, and you know who you are out there, that work so hard and tirelessly on these campaigns with us and with your traditional curriculum that you use in your classrooms to help your students and the staff in your buildings to live heart healthy. I want to thank you so much. Can we give them a big round of applause? So Dr. Dixon mentioned some of the habits that we have, and when I was sitting here listening to this, I was thinking to myself, what is my habit? And the first thing that came to my mind was ice cream. So I know a lot of you can relate to that. So what I did, so since I work at the Heart Association, I don't normally admit it, but my habit is ice cream. So the way that I have kind of transitioned away from ice cream is sometimes that's what we have to do. We have to find a way that we can transition away from something and replace it with something else that's a little bit healthier, and then we just continue along that path. And I know it's what a lot of you teach in your health and wellness classes as well. So what I did was I said, you know what, I'm going to go from the high sugar dairy ice cream, and I'm going to move it over to coconut and almond milk ice cream and lower sugar. So I did that. And actually feel a lot better being away from the higher sugar. So sometimes we just have to kind of transition, and that's a lot about what we teach as well. So when I was thinking of keto as a plant as well, I was thinking I love that thought of making a name for what you're doing. So I love that we're saying the theme this year is Healthy Tiger Nation, and we're all working together for this goal. So as you guys are working on campaigns with us in the school districts, you're going to see that a lot of money is raised through the American Heart Association campaigns. So what's really, really neat is since we are here in the Cleveland metro area, we have specific funding from your campaigns that you raise that go to campaigns with the Cleveland Clinic and university hospitals and Metro Health and so forth. So what's really exciting is $2.7 million was just donated to the Cleveland Clinic to help with AFib research. So that's a really awesome thing that you're helping towards. Another really cool thing that I love to talk about is the Nobel Peace Prize winners that the American Heart Association has been able to fund, thanks to everyone in this room that has been involved in the American Heart Association campaigns. So far, the American Heart Association has funded 13 Nobel Peace Prize winners. And the things that they have created are treatments like the pacemaker, CPR techniques, microsurgery, and stents have been created to help patients worldwide that are living with heart disease or had strokes. So these are some huge advancements that have happened thanks to everything that we all do together. And it's always a team effort, and I so much appreciate being able to be here with you all, and as we work together to plan your events coming up here for 2018, 2019. So kind of as we look ahead, we do know as it stands right now, heart disease is still the #1 killer of all Americans, and stroke is number 5. So our biggest goal is to move heart disease out of that #1 position. That's not a #1 that we want. And so this is how we do it. We get into the communities, we run different campaigns, we continue to raise those funds and raise that awareness. And we do focus on ourselves because we have to focus on what is our health like first before we can kind of come out to this, bring the message to everyone. So I love the way we kind of started Convocation this year with focusing on ourselves. And what's really neat is we're going to be transitioning at the Heart Association to focus on the whole person. So in the past, a lot of our themes have been just straight heart health, okay? So now it's going to be the whole person. So the physical, the emotional, the entire well-being of the whole child, the whole person, the whole staff member. So I think this is so important because we think about stress and how that affects our heart, our cardiovascular system, and that is one of the big ones. So if you guys look in your bags that you did get today, there's going to be a card in there that has some stress stoppers. I know I've heard a few people say they're going to pin those up on their pin board this year just to keep those at top of mind. And I will be here at the Wellness Fair, so I hope to see some of you come by. I'll have some additional information about stroke, heart disease, and how to lower our risk. So I want to thank you again so much. It's been great being here, and welcome back. Thank you again.
Thank you, Valerie. Valerie said, so we're having this ice cream. So I hope you guys are all thinking about what your habits. I would like to kind of hear what those habits are when we're done. So we're looking forward to what that partnership is going to accomplish for us this year. Now I would like to introduce someone who may be a familiar face to many of you, Mr. Sean Sullivan. Sean Sullivan has spent 40 years in our district, first as a student, and now 25 years as an award-winning educator. He is currently the Science and Engineering Specialist at Garrity Professional Development School. And was the head of the Heights Boys varsity soccer coach for 14 years. Mr. Sullivan is the founder and director of the Heights United Soccer Academy, which recently celebrated its 25-year anniversary and has scholarshiped over 1,000 Cleveland Heights University Heights children to play soccer. Mr. Sullivan was recently inducted into the Cleveland Heights School Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame, class of 2018. During that induction, Mr. Sullivan shared a personal, heartfelt story during that time, and I've asked him to share his story with us today. So please welcome Mr. Sean Sullivan.
Good morning. It is such an honor to stand before you today, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me to share a portion of my life story in front of an audience comprised of individuals whom I deeply respect and who carry on the legacy of our predecessors in an outstanding school district. Without the Cleveland Heights University Heights schools, staff, and community, both past and present, I would not be on the path to health and wellness. In fact, I would not be here at this moment, literally. Before I share, it's important that I thank those individuals out there today who know a portion of my story. Those who went above and beyond to help and support me. Those who gave me encouragement, a shoulder to lean on, an unconditional helping hand, or the right words at the right time. You know who you are, and I thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart. I also extend my admiration to those out there who have experienced, to some degree, what I will soon share. The strength and composure it takes to work and maintain a normal lifestyle is inspiring, and you are amongst my heroes. 2 years ago at Convocation, one speaker said something that really resonated with me, and I will rephrase it as best I can. The speaker said, "Today, we teach and work with our students in our classroom, our element, but in the future, we may soon be in our students' element, or their classroom, per se." Those words rang oh so true for me shortly after I heard them spoken. I have personally experienced a series of events in the last 17 months that changed my life and perspective forever, and I crossed paths with individuals that are a direct result of the extraordinary efforts of former and current Cleveland Heights University Heights educators and staff. I will start by sharing 2 short bios of Heights alumni and a more in-depth bio of a third alum. Even though all 3 Heights alumni are from vastly different generations, their paths crossed in a way that is special and unique. The first student, Eric, grew up in Cleveland Heights and attended Milliken Elementary, Monticello Junior High, and Cleveland Heights High School. Eric remembers his high school education fondly, and in his own words, recalls his science teacher, Mr. Quayle, for doing mesmerizing hands-on science experiments. Eric graduated from Heights High in the class of 1975. The second Heights alumnus, Brian, started his career in the district as a very quiet student who sat in the back of his first grade classroom at Oxford Elementary School. A soft-spoken, kind-hearted, and hard-working young man, Brian sometimes needed that extra push, but when he got it, he always rose to the occasion. The third student came to Cleveland Heights University Heights in the middle of 3rd grade. He came from an adoptive biracial family and found his place in the world thanks to Cleveland Heights University Heights. That student was me. To appreciate my story, I have to give you some insight to who I am. Some of what I share is personal and difficult, but it will help you gain a better understanding to the depth and impact that Cleveland Heights University Heights has had, not only on me directly, but that on future generations. I am Mexican American with Native American blood. My sister is African American. We were both adopted by white Irish parents, hence the names Sean and Tara Sullivan. Before moving to Cleveland Heights, I can remember being viciously teased for looking different from my parents and my sister, and I quickly slipped into the abyss of loneliness in my early childhood. I recall much solitude in my kindergarten and 2nd grade years, for I felt I had no one to confide in or protect me when I wasn't with my family. I was that quiet, shy child that never said a word, kept his head down, never talked in class. When I arrived in Cleveland Heights University Heights in 1978, my teacher saw an introverted, shy boy who could have easily slipped through the cracks, but somehow, collectively, over the course of my years at Noble, Monticello Junior High, and Heights High, the Cleveland Heights University Heights staff was able to prepare me with what I needed to make my mark on the world. Some of the preparation came from instruction in the classroom, for the simple fact that Heights educators are the best at what they do. And I don't say this lightly. I have consistently heard from fellow classmates and students over the last 40 years just how incredible you all are. And as I stood on this very stage a few months ago, inducted into the Cleveland Heights High School Hall of Fame, every single inductee paid tribute to their Heights teachers. You are highly respected, admired, and appreciated. Some of the preparation I received from Cleveland Heights University Heights as a child came from the kind, caring, and compassionate acts of educators, coaches, and staff. I'm going to share just a few personal memories with you. 3rd grade, Noble School, 1978, Mrs. Perino, and the entire 3rd grade class. They welcomed a young, traumatized boy who had experienced so much taunting from being adopted and looking different from my family. It was the first time I truly felt safe in a school. Thank you, Mrs. Perino, and that noble 3rd grade class. 6th grade, Noble School, 1981, Mrs. Becker. I credit her for inspiring me to want to be a teacher. Mrs. Becker had a tough class that year. This was back in the day when 6th grade was still in the elementary schools. She had at least 30 students in her class, but I still remember how Mrs. Becker made learning fun. I remember her lessons were hands-on and exciting. But most of all, she took interest in what was important to me. She was the first teacher to incorporate soccer in a math and science lesson, and consequently, math and science became my best subjects. Now, I'm not saying that my other teachers weren't phenomenal. Most of them were. But Mrs. Becker was the first to make learning relevant and real to me, and I wanted more. I wanted to be that person who created so much excitement in their students. I wanted to be a teacher. Thank you, Mrs. Becker. Monticello Junior High, 1983, Mrs. Beal, my music teacher. She saw potential in me as a saxophone player. She stayed after school on her own time to teach me and get me to a point where I did an improvisational jazz solo in front of an audience. This from a child who was scared to speak in class. That was an amazing accomplishment. Mrs. Beal also encouraged me to try out for the All-Ohio Band as a junior high student, and I was able to go on tour of Europe with high school students from across the state. I give Mrs. Beal credit for giving me the courage to stand in front of others and take risks. Thank you, Mrs. Beal. Heights High School, 1987, junior year, Mr. Mallman, Physics and Astronomy. We had a project where we had to plot the course of planets over a period of time and chart the angle of visibility from the opposite side of the sun. I really took my time on this project, and when I turned it in, Mr. Mallman beamed, and he told me it was one of the best diagrams he had ever seen, and he was very proud of me. He asked me if he could show it to the other classes, and just by saying those words and truly meaning them and acknowledging my hard work, I became even more motivated, and I excelled in science for the remainder of my high school career and throughout my college years. Thank you, Mr. Mallman. Heights High School, 1988, senior year, guidance counselor, Mrs. Sheffer. I wish I could say I was the perfect Heights student, but I wasn't. My lack of confidence in the classroom hindered me, and I struggled tremendously in English, writing, and public speaking. If it were not for the heroic efforts of my guidance counselor, who gave extra time and helped me believe in myself and my reading, writing, and public speaking abilities, I would not have graduated on time. Thank you, Mrs. Sheffer. And finally, Heights High School, 1985 to 1988, soccer coach Dietrich and coach Air, two legendary coaches who I had the honor to play for. They instilled in me the joy and pride of representing the Heights soccer program and how sports are an extension of the classroom. This is a belief that I carry with me to this day. Heights soccer is who I am, and Heights soccer is who I will always be. Thank you, coaches. My senior soccer year at Heights is significant to me personally. It is the year when the number 17 became my lucky number, a number that has appeared in key moments in my life, and those who know me can verify that the number 17 seems to follow me wherever I go. It all started on October 17th when I was 17 years old. I scored my 17th Heights career goal in the 17th game of the season, wearing number 17. If that isn't a sign and a half, I don't know what is. And just for proof, and one of my favorite examples of what I mean by how 17 continuously follows me. In 2006, I ran the New York Marathon, 26.2 miles, one of 5 marathons in my career to date. And the bib numbers are randomly assigned to the 50,000 participants who cannot request the numbers. I happen to receive bib number 17,817. There it is right here. and I carry it with me for those special days when I need just a little bit extra luck. With all my superstition around 17, I said to myself, I can't wait for the year 2017. It will be one that I will never forget. I could not have been more correct in predicting my future. Without the remarkable Cleveland Heights University Heights educators who provided me and countless others with an outstanding foundational education prior to college, I might not possess the skills needed to be a successful teacher or coach or public speaker. I am grateful for the efforts of my Heights teachers during my years as a student in this district, and I remind everyone out there that every minute we are with our students, we are creating life experiences for them that they will carry in their hearts for the rest of their lives, as I have carried my Heights memories with me. Fast forward, graduating from Bowling Green State University and returning to Cleveland Heights University Heights, the only place I can imagine teaching and coaching. I began my career at Oxford Elementary School in 1994 with an extraordinary staff. I taught first grade for 10 years, fourth grade for 3 years, and fifth grade for 4 years, for a total of 17 years, before moving to a new school. It was my second year at Oxford when I met Brian, that quiet first grader that I previously mentioned. Little did I know that our paths would cross later in life in his classroom per se. 1994 was also my first year coaching Heights soccer as an assistant. I was so proud to be part of the coaching staff that brought so much joy to me. From 1994 to 2000, the boys soccer team went to 3 district finals and had appearance in the regional finals in 1999, where we were 8th in the state. It was our best showing ever. When I had the opportunity to take the reins as the head coach in 2001, I jumped at it. My philosophy as a coach was to always be positive, encourage every player, and focus on their strengths. I also felt it important to lead by example, so I always ran with the team and played in the technical functional drills with them as we prepared for postseason play. I got the young men to believe, understand, and internalize that they're not playing for themselves, but rather as a cohesive unit for the name on the front of their jersey, which is Heights, and to represent the Heights soccer legacy in the Heights School District with pride and dignity. By 2014, we had over 150 wins, 3 more district final appearances, 3 LAL championships, and hundreds of high-end student athletes who were contributing to society. But by 2010, I couldn't run with the team anymore. Old age was setting in, or so I thought. 2010 also marked my move from Oxford to Noble, my alma mater, where I would be a 5th grade teacher in the same room where I was once a student with Mrs. Becker. I remember clearly walking into my first Noble staff meeting before the start of school, not knowing many teachers, and I immediately reverted back to 32 years prior when I entered that building as a scared child. But once again, I was welcomed with open arms, and I thank the entire Noble staff for that. In 2013, I made my current move to Garrity Professional Development School as a science and engineering specialist. Garrity is an incredible school with an incredible staff who I sincerely care very much about. Just 1 year later, in 2014, I came to the realization that the hours I was coaching were taking a toll on me. So I stepped down from Heights High as the head coach because my body was sending signals it was time to rest and take care of myself. I figured that the body signals would dissipate, but in fact, they got worse. December 29, 2016, my symptoms became severe. I knew something was wrong. So I drove myself to University Hospital's CHUH emergency room at 6 in the morning. After x-rays and a contrast eye CAT scan, I could see that the nurses and doctors were becoming nervous, for they had found an obstruction in my bowel, and I was immediately admitted. Soon after, I was visited by the head of the CHUH medical team, Dr. Shapiro. He told me he would watch me closely to determine if emergency surgery was needed. Fortunately, the next day I was told I could go home, but I must return to see Dr. Shapiro in 6 weeks once the inflammation had gone down. I was given a ton of meds to keep my symptoms at bay, but nothing worked. Dr. Shapiro decided that an emergency biopsy was necessary, and then I got the call 1 week later on February 17th. The call that no one wants. Dr. Shapiro told me I had a carcinoid neuroendocrine tumor. It is an extremely rare, slow-growing cancer that less than 1/100,000th of 1% of the United States population is diagnosed with each year. And of those diagnosed, 20% have metastasized because it was found too late. I was in late stage 3B, just months from it reaching my liver or pancreas, where it could have become terminal. I was told that the cancer was likely in my body since 2010 or earlier, based on the size of the tumor, which explains all the horrible symptoms that I suffered and that were misdiagnosed for the last 7 years. Neuroendocrine tumors, or NETs for short, have been brought to light by the passings of such greats as Walter Payton and Steve Jobs. For me, my treatment was a major surgery called a right hemicolectomy, where one half of my colon was removed, all the surrounding lymph nodes, and my appendix. It took me a week in the hospital of painful abdominal recovery, and one night where I actually coded. But soon, I could feel the burning was out, so I started walking, then running, then jogging, and then, just 10 weeks after that major surgery, I ran and completed the Cleveland Half Marathon, 13.1 miles. And I ran it just to show cancer that it can't and it won't keep me down. Oh yes, and Dr. Shapiro, the head of the medical team at University Hospitals, the doctor who diagnosed me with one of the rarest cancers out there and saved my life in the year 2017, was Eric Shapiro, Cleveland Heights High class of 1975. This great man was taught by our predecessors and continues to save the lives of countless others. When I told him I was speaking today and I asked if he had a message, he requested I relay that he feels that teachers and support staff are the true heroes, for we are on the front lines for our children and future generations, and he thanks each and every one of you. There's one more piece to this story. Since being diagnosed, my life routine has changed significantly. I must go to oncology every 3 months for blood work called a chromogram A test to keep tabs on my carcinoid neuroendocrine cancer. The general public doesn't know much about this rare cancer, so I will give you a brief synopsis. Carcinoid neuroendocrine cancer affects chromogram A, which is a protein released naturally by neuroendocrine cells in all our bodies. Carcinoid cancer causes these cells to secrete an abnormal amount of chromogram A, which creates all sorts of problems. This test is a tumor marker that can alert a need for a bevy of complex scans to help determine if treatment will be surgery, chemotherapy, or radiation. I was told to be very aware of the signals my body sends, and if I notice anything strange, I should let my oncologist know right away. Well, last year around this time, I got pink eye. Nothing too unusual for an elementary school teacher, but for some reason, it didn't go away. So I went to the doctor, and within 30 minutes, I had the department chair looking at me saying he hadn't seen anything like this since his clinicals. That was not the best sign. It was determined that there was a small mass in my eye that needed to be removed surgically. I had the surgery done at the Cole Eye Center at the Cleveland Clinic. And as I was being wheeled into the operating room, a confident voice called out to me, "Mr. Sullivan, don't worry, we got you." And I looked up, and it was Brian, my former first grade student who was going to be a technician in the surgical room. I reached over the gurney, I shook his hand, and I teared up. I knew I was going to be okay. I was now in Brian's element, his classroom, so to speak, as he was once in mine 24 years ago. We as educators share our classroom, our element, our world with our students for a brief period of time. We should be cognizant that the chances are good that someday we will be in our students' world, their element, and they will return all the good we have bestowed upon them. I stand before you a proud Heights alumnus, Heights educator, and Heights coach, bearing my heart and soul with a cancer diagnosis. I wish I could say I'm in remission, but I can't. I'm close, but I'm not there yet. I must accept the 5-year prognosis and be aggressive, vigilant, and prepared for the chance of it returning. I am past the point of being angry, bargaining, or fearful. I move forward knowing I have the full support of my family, friends, and my colleagues. I don't say this for sympathy. for I have a very strong mindset, and I have run 8 half marathons since the surgery as I prepared for the Columbus race this October 21st. And just 2 days ago, on our last day of vacation, I ran 17 miles, my longest run since 2006, just to prove to myself. A wise person once said, "There are no great people in this world, only great challenges which ordinary people rise to meet." I encourage you all to rise to the level of all your challenges this year and throughout your life. Don't let obstacles or negativity stand in your way. In closing, the point I am making is that Cleveland Heights University Heights staff, alumni, and students, staff, and alumni are actively changing the community, the state, the nation, and even the world. And we all share a common bond. We have all walked the halls amongst our amazing Heights schools in an amazing Heights community. Our job as educators, our responsibility, our obligation is to make learning relevant, real, and exciting for all of our students, to be there unconditionally in their time of need, to provide them with a safe environment so they can thrive and take risks, to continue to model the importance of health and wellness in our students and in our own lives. I know firsthand we are succeeding, but we must press on, despite the challenges we may face personally or professionally. I stand unified with each and every one of you and have the same mission to prepare our students to succeed in a global society. We are changing the world collectively as a cohesive group of educators. We are inspiring a new generation to solve the complex issues and challenges we face on our planet. And we do have the right people in the right places at the right time to make a real change in the Cleveland Heights University Heights School District. I thank you for the opportunity to speak on this day, August 17th, and I thank you on behalf of all the Cleveland Heights University Heights students, families, and community members whose lives you have impacted, and for those who will inspire this year. I wish you a wonderful school year.
Wow. Wow. That was awesome. Thank you, Sean, for your service, for your strength, for your courage. We love you. This is what it's about, Tiger Nation. This is a family. We show our support. We don't know what's happening, what's going on with each other individually. Just give your staff member a hug. Just hug them, reach out to them. Tell them how much you care about them, shake their hands, whatever it takes, but let that person know that they're an inspiration to you. I love my staff. I love all of you guys. I want to say it, even if I don't show it, I do. And thank you again for that reminder, Sean, that we never know who's going to cross our paths. So everyone that we may meet, you never know if you may meet that person again. Thank you for that. So before we get to our last thing, I would just like, before Maggie is coming back up, I want to say thank you again to those people that made it possible for today. Scott Wortman, give Scott Wortman and Communications Department, Caroline, Joy, Caitlin, Vivian, thank you so much. It's wonderful again to have staff members that you know, just kind of tell them what you think you want to happen and they put it together. And so I hope you enjoy your swag that you have this year. We were trying to be very intentional about some things that you would like, and Scott Wortman said the guys would love those bags just as much as the ladies, and those pop sockets and the tiles. So we hope that we've shown our love and our respect to you through those little tokens of appreciation, and we want you to make sure that you take care of yourselves this year. So without further ado, I pass it over to Maggie, and she's going to close it out.
Well, Dr. Dixon's going to help me with this one. Yeah, she'll help me with this one. Come on down. We're not quite done yet. We have one more exciting exciting performance to get the mood back up here because I'm not crying, you're crying. That was a lot. Yeah. So before we get our final exciting performance started, we came up with a few exercises for the school year to help you as teachers. You can do them right in your classroom. It's really easy. First we've got I told you this 3 times email. Then we've got the grading the papers. Got a mountain of paperwork. Grade the papers. Grade the papers. Get them out of my sight. Grade the papers. Grade the papers. Okay, right? Feel that stretch in the traps right there? It's a good stretch. Then you got the Monday moonwalk. The Friday dash. You're welcome. We have out of the way because we have an exciting group that we brought in for you. They are super cute and it's going to be super fun. Please show them some love. They are the Jam and Jump and Jump Rope team.
Inspire them. We're so excited because we are a part of this sport, jump rope. Who's jump rope before? Becoming quite popular, especially with CrossFit, I know. So we are really excited to be a part of the sport. We're now also members of the American Jump Rope Federation here in Ohio, OH. We are also very excited because we just got observational status from the Olympic Committee. And what that means is for 2 years, they will be looking at our sport to see if we have what it takes to be accepted as an Olympic sport in the United States. So we're working closely with our sport and trying to encourage everyone to get more involved, obviously. Starting out at the youth level and even middle school, high school. We do have some high school teams that have started in the United States. Ohio is the first state organization to have formed just this past March. So Ohio, again, is the leading state in a sport. And I'm excited to share with you that my team, although small today, we do have a lot. They're still on summer break, you know, and doing their summer vacations last minute. But these wonderful, fabulous 5 jumpers are going to show you a little bit about jump rope. And the more that you show them with your claps that they're really enjoyed, the better they'll feel because they're a little nervous. So give them a round of applause. And first we're going to do a step in before we start the music.
Somebody sing your soul 'cause you've been standing in the city. You know too many troubles, all these lovers got you
5 jumpers. Ladies, come on up to the front. I'll say them by name and they can say real loud what grade they're from. They're going to work on their voices in the auditorium. First on the end, your name and grade.
My name's Abby, and I'm going in 5th grade. My name's Olivia, and I'm going into 7th grade. And I'm going to 5th grade. My name's Emily, and I'm going into 7th grade. My name's Grace, and I'm going into 8th grade.
We've been a jump rope team for 20 years. We're celebrating 20 years this year. Great, good job. Our team is built on, and this sport is built on teamwork and character building, and as teachers, you use teamwork every day to help foster the growth of every child in the district. Whether it's a push of a pencil, turn of a page, or tap on a keyboard, you all motivate children to do their best and step in the right direction. We hope that you're excited to start your new year and motivated to support and challenge each other to have a healthy and happy school year. And we hope that someday you guys will also start a jump rope team here. So if you're interested, let me know and we'll come up and get started for you. Thank you so much for having us.